All right, guys. So I just got done watching the movie Obsession, directed by Curry Barker, and I just want to say that this is the best horror movie that I've seen all year, and I will damn near say that this is the best horror movie that I've seen in a long time. This movie was incredible. Just the actors who play Nikki. Hey, I tip my hat to you for you to be. Hey, spoiler alert, by the way. Spoiler alert. I'm kind of doing off the cuff here than my usual setup. I'm in the car, but spoiler alert, the way that Nikki was able to balance being Wish Nikki, which is what I'm going to call her, Wish Nikki versus her regular self. It didn't feel like that the actress was playing a character who was possessed. It felt like she was playing a character who was just a very, very jealous girlfriend and who didn't like her man hanging around or being around other girls, like just taking the jealousy to the absolute extreme. And that's what I like about horror, is that it's able to take an everyday concept and make a dark twisted version of it, and just and it's just such an amazing movie. And I really like how relatable Bear was. We were all Bear, especially if you're a guy. Hey, when you're a guy, we were all in Bear's shoes. We really liked the girl. We had those rose colored glasses on, you know what I mean? We really had a crush on the girl, and some of us were too afraid to ask out the girl. Some of us did ask out the girl, but we were all in Bear's shoes before. So I thought Bear was a very relatable character. I thought that the actor who also played Bear, was also very, very good as well. I see why they casted him, because he's like nervous, shy, and it didn't feel like he was acting. It actually felt like he was like that. I feel like if that was any other actor, they probably would have like overdone the nervousness and all that stuff. But no, he was actually, or the timidness of the character, but he was actually really, really good. And one thing I really liked about the movie was how at the very beginning they showed how Nikki was. They showed that she is a very, very kind and caring person. She's very, very loose, very free, very, very chill. She doesn't like gifts or anything like that. She's not into that sentimental stuff. She's very, very chill. So when Bear makes that wish, he snaps the wishing willow and makes the wish, she just completely changes. And one thing that I noticed when she changes the first shot, her face is completely dark. And I realized they do that a lot in the movie. When she's in her creepiest, you can't see her face. It's like she's covered in the darkness. And at the very beginning, when he snapped the wishing willow, she was covered in darkness, and she was just standing there on the front porch. And what I liked as well, when she was like, "Oh, my cat died," he was like, "No, my cat died," because at the very beginning, when Bear comes home, he sees that I believe his cat died. Maybe it ate something terrible, which is a foreshadow of what's going to happen at the very end. But what I liked was that her brain was like, it was like the wish was settling in. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so creepy and so eerie. And just that exchange, even that exchange with them outside at the very beginning, how she's all like, "Oh, do you want to come inside? Oh, let's go back to your place." And just how creepy and eerie it was. And he was like, "Yo, what the F is going on? Like, what are you doing?" And and it was just a very, very eerie moment. And then when they go back to his house, they sleep in the bed. They kiss for the first time, and she screams, and he like bounces back, and he's like, "Yo, what's going on?" She's like, "Oh, nothing." And I think what that was the first sign that was the real Nikki trying to reach out. And what I really liked was that, I guess, because it's a moment in the movie where, when old girl's asleep, Nikki, where the real Nikki is saying like, "Kill me, please kill me. I haven't really been with you. That's not me." It makes me wonder, is this like not a demon, but what is this monster that has possessed Nikki? And is this Nikki? Is this not Nikki? I was so confused. And I also wonder, and the movie really left this ambiguous, and I like this. I love this about horror, especially about this movie. Did Nikki actually like Bear? And she even calls him out on it before he snaps the wishing willow. And I would say, because she's like, "Hey, do you like me?" And he was like, "No, I only see you as a friend." And something, I know it's ambiguous, but in my opinion, I think that she did like him. Gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I think that she did like him, or at least she wanted him to admit it. Granted, we found out that she was sleeping with Ian, Big E, Big I, for the entire before the movie and all that stuff, they were on and off. But I just like this movie so much, how eerie it was. The movie doesn't do anything new. It's a very common concept, you know, or it's a very grounded concept, but it's just taken to the umpteenth degree. And I just like what they did with the cinematography. I love the actors and the actresses, what they brought. Especially Nikki, man. Man. Hey, everyone says that she deserves an Oscar. I believe she deserves to get nominated, because for you to be able to balance both Nikki, but mostly Wish Nikki, and not be over the top and still be creepy and eerie, and just the way that she moves, like the body, a lot of people don't realize about acting is that a lot of it is in the physicality. I remember the actor who won Best Supporting Actor for what was that movie with the Kung Fu movie? I can't remember the name. What's the Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. So yeah, Everywhere, Everywhere, All at Once. He said that one of the first things that he did to get into character, or to work on a character, was the physicalness of the role and how to balance that. And just because that's a lot of physicality, and Nikki's physicality, the actress, I think her name is Indy, her physicality was it was just amazing, you know, and how creepy she was, and how she was watching him sleep. And I love the moment when they're in the bed and she said, "Don't leave." I'm like, what the I was out. That This movie was hilarious. And again, another comedic actor in the horror space. I'm starting to see that there is a thin line between horror and comedy. And a lot of these comedic actors are a lot of these a lot of these people who have a comedian background now stepping into horror, and they're just bringing something new to the genre. Shout out to Jordan Peele. But yeah, listen, shout out to Jordan Peele, shout out to Zach Kreger. But this movie was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I just loved it so much. I just, gosh, this movie was amazing. And I also say that on top of the acting, you know, the kills were also pretty good as well, and just how dark and just how grotesque that it was really just a snowball effect of how worse and worse and worse and worse and worse it got. And you know, it really tackles on, you know, body autonomy, as far as, you know, at first you feel bad for Bear, but to be honest with you, as the movie went on, I felt less and less bad for Bear, because he definitely had opportunities to not let it get as bad as it did, you know, like, you know, taking advantage of the situation because he loved her and all that stuff. And I did sympathize with him at the beginning, but as the movie rolled on, I sympathized with him less and less, and I think that was intentional. You know, Nikki is the real victim in all of this. She didn't ask for any of this. And oh my gosh, now that I think about it, that moment where they were all playing like the brick game, and just that face she made, I can't do it. It was like, see, I can't even do it. I can't even do it. It was that creepy when she made that face when they were playing the break game, and Bear had to kiss the person to his left, and it turns out it was Sarah, someone who had a crush on him throughout the entire movie. And the way that she creepy moves her back, he kisses her, and that poem that she does, I'm still trying to figure out what was the meaning behind. There were a couple times in that movie where she was doing like that, saying that poem and everything, but that was pretty creepy and weird. This is a movie I'm going to have to see again and watch it from a different lens. Now that the shock factor's out the way, now I'm going to go back and see if I can catch some things, and hopefully. But as you guys know, this is not an analysis channel. This is a what can we learn from this movie, and how has this movie helped me come to realize just problems in my own life. And trust me, guys, I actually do have a story for you, and how this movie has actually helped me come to terms with a certain issue that I had in my life. So we're going to move on to that next. So how does this movie help me come to terms with my own problems? So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was in a very toxic relationship about a year and a quarter ago. I was in a relationship with this woman. She was I'm not going to say her name, not going to give away her identity or anything like that, but she was very normal at the beginning, I would say. She was very kind, very loving. I can tell that there was feelings developing between us. And as we hung out more and more, those feelings became more prevalent. Those feelings became more known. Then one day, you know, we kind of just, you know, things happened, and we started dating ever since then. And I realized as we started dating that things only got weirder and weirder. And trust me, this is gonna, like, I would say the first sign that things were weird. I'm very particular with my diet and in my workout routine. I remember she was trying to control my diet, telling me that I need to change it in order to eat more like her or the way that she wanted me to eat. And of course, I said no. I like my diet. I like what I'm eating. Then she tried to control how often I worked out because she said I worked out too much. And and it was really just a slow trickle, her trying to control certain aspects within my life. And then it got to the point where she was trying to control what I wear, and she wanted me to plan trips, and that she wanted me to dress a certain way. And it was just very, very creepy and just very, very weird. Sorry guys for the background, but it only got worse and worse and worse. And then she became very domineering. She wanted to have my location. She wanted to know where I was at all times. She wanted to spend a lot of time with me. It just became very more and more overbearing, and it got so creepy to the point where I remember I had her in my house, had her in my room, and I had to go to the bathroom, and she said she wanted to watch me go to the bathroom. Yeah, I know. Very, very scary and very, very creepy and weird, and it just freaked me out, not gonna lie to you. And to be honest with you guys, a tipping point was when we were in line at a Starbucks. And while in line at a Starbucks, how can I best explain this? I guess where she comes from, they give out complimentary bars, like candy bars. And she had asked the person for when she ordered her coffee for a complimentary bar. And he was like, no, we don't do that out here. Keep in mind, she's from the East Coast. We're from we're in the West Coast. And she like snapped, and she snapped. I remember she snapped saying, well, you guys do it in the East Coast. Why don't you do it out here? And, we were in a drive-through, and she was right next to me. I'm just looking at her while she snapped at this guy. And the guy, he's just doing his job. He just hands her coffee, and we drive off, and she's snapping, going off. And I'm just sitting there, letting her go off. And she says something that was very, very creepy. That really I was like, I have to get out. She said that the reason why she's so particular about her coffee and why she went off is because she feels like she has no control in her life. So her with this coffee is the only control that she has in her life. And I just thought that was creepy and weird and scary, because it's just, so you're going to treat this person like crap because of your coffee? And honest with you guys, I should have left that situation a long time ago, but I was just in it because I just thought that this is just what you dealt with. You know what I mean? But she was definitely obsessed with me, and that she was but I can tell that she had deep issues. And it turns out, which I didn't know, she lied about her age. She was actually 5 years older than what she told me. And she also lied about having a kid. She had abandoned her kid in the East Coast in order to pursue acting out here in Los Angeles. So that kind of tells you the type of person that she was. And now that I think about it, I think the only reason she was trying to date me was because she was trying to, or the way she treated me, how she was treating me, was because she was trying to make up being a mother to me. This stuff gets deep, guys. That's just what I thought. That's just what I guessed. It was very, very weird, very, very creepy. But that was very, very weird, very, very creepy moment that I had. And just watching this movie made me really relate to that. And what I realized about this movie is that what's the lesson that I learned from this movie? Don't make dumb wishes. No, I'm joking. I will say that the lesson I learned from this movie is that whether you're the man or the woman in any relationship, you got to know when to get out. You got to know when to get out. You got to know when enough is enough. And you got to know how to lay out boundaries and so on and so forth. And if you're not comfortable in a situation, then you got to get out sooner rather than later, because the longer that you stay in something, the worse and worse and worse that it gets, until eventually it's irreversible. And I'm very lucky that the situation that I was in did not get to that point, because it could have easily became irreversible, such as having a kid with her or being married to her or so on and so forth, if that makes sense. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to be seeing this movie again. Maybe I can learn more lessons from this film, but I really appreciate you guys listening to this video. Again, set up in my car for my usual setup. Sorry about all the confusion. Just I literally just got out the theater. So thank you guys and have a good day. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.